We have a crazy situation right now in Ukraine. Media barely even.
Oh, I don't know if I can handle watching this. I can already tell how autistically retarded. This whole video is going to be 9 minutes of them on Ukraine for being too aggressive, isn't it?
To report it. The United States is currently backing a full-blown invasion of Russia. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. This is from the Institute for the Study of War. Of course, you want to color in and keep in mind their own bias, but this is basically the best data that we have. Russian forces have been pushed back some 30 square kilometers or so inside of their own territory. And again, this is internationally recognized Russian territory, not territory that they have previously claimed in the Kursk region of.
Has he ever referred to... Has he ever, I'm just curious, I don't expect you guys to have encyclopedic knowledge of everything he said. I'm wondering if he's ever referred to Crimea as internationally recognized Ukrainian territory. I wonder if he's ever made those combination of words have ever left his mouth before.
Of Russia. According to Russian officials, some 100,000 Russian citizens have had to flee the area. There are approximately 1 million who are there. There are several towns that have been taken over by the Ukrainians in a so-called shock offensive. Now, the reason why it's a shock is that, according to the Ukrainians and to the U.S. narrative, this is supposed to be a war of defense from invasion. So to counter their invasion, Crystal, they've decided to invade territory which they deem Russian. Now, philosophically, I don't really have a problem with this. Of course, whenever you're in a war, you should be doing whatever you need to. The issue is not what the Ukrainians are doing. It's the fact that U.S. NATO weaponry is being employed to literally invade Russia. Yeah. And when we flip it around and we consider what it would look like here,
please flip it around. Please. I want to hear you flip it around. Go ahead. Please tell me. How? Flip it around.
This is not disputed territory. This is internationally recognized an invasion. And
what, as opposed to what disputed territory? What is the disputed territory that you're like alluding to here, though? Are you saying the Donbass is disputed territory, or that Crimea is disputed territory?
And that is literally the justification for every dollar of the hundreds of billions that we have shipped to Ukraine is to defend against this invasion. And then just consider, can any great power nation sit there and tolerate an invasion of its own territory? If Mexico invaded, even up until the city of Laredo or El Paso, would we tolerate that? No, we would bomb them back to the Stone Ages.
Because the implication would be they'd be invading us for no reason. If Mexico invaded us for no reason, we probably would bomb them back to the Stone Ages, which is what Ukraine should be doing to Russia.
As the sayings go. Now, let's be fair too. This has also demonstrated the tremendous problems with the Russian military that they haven't been able to immediately push this back. Put this up there.
How do these guys have the worst takes on every side? Because their take is just America bad. That's it. That's the take. The take is America sucks. America bad. America does everything bad. Fuck America. That's it. If you understand it from that perspective, everything they say makes sense. Then it all makes sense. Everything makes sense.
And the United States is going to have to once again spend billions to defend Israel from that attack. Can we really tolerate the risk of these two? And the fact that they probably contribute. The Iranians say, hey, we got a lot of military assets tied up over there. And the Russians are saying, got a lot of military assets tied up over there.
That's very true. Yeah. And meanwhile, the media has basically lost interest in this story.
No,
There's
they don't
very
care.
little coverage of it. J.D. Vance and all of his many interviews he did yesterday, there was not, I think, one question about...
He brought it up once in a print interview. But yes, to any of the media people, they didn't bring it up.
They didn't bring it up.
Yeah.
Like... What could
I thought Sagar was a conservative. Everybody on Breaking Points is just anti-establishment. I don't know what the political alignment is, except for that one. There's the one blonde girl who seems okay, but maybe I'm only saying that because she was kind of ostensibly on my side in that debate, and I don't think I've heard her say anything super stupid. But these two, plus Ryan, plus I think there's one other person, all seem like they say crazy shit constantly.
Could be more important than we're backing the invasion of a nuclear-armed superpower. And hey, how's this going to end? Where is this leading? What's your plan? If you were in the White House, what would your side of the equation be? And there's zero interest in it. People have lost interest in this story because it is a lot messier than it was in the early days when it was just like, go Ukraine, and Ukraine had Russia on the back foot. Now you're in this long, grinding war of...
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I memory hold. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know anything that's happened in the past 3 years. When did Ukraine have Russia on the back foot? Is she just referring to the fact that Ukraine managed to repel an invasion into their capital city for the first 2 weeks?
Where for days, and usually when the Ukrainians pull some terrorist attack or whatever in Russia, they're like, oh, what a tragedy. It's crazy that somebody would do that. They're just openly saying it. In his video address that...
I also hate... We need more war. We just need more war. We need more war. Nobody knows about what war is, okay? Because now every attack in a war is like terrorism or genocide or ethnic cleansing, and it's like, no, these people are at war. They're at war with each other. You blow shit up, people die, things explode, bad shit happens. It's not good. It's not fun. It's not cool. It's not an enjoyable activity. Okay. You're not dueling in front of the city gates. Okay. It's not Jon Snow and Ramsay. No, not Ramsay. What was his son? No, yeah, it was Ramsay, right? Ramsay Snow and Jon Snow dueling in front of the troops watching it. Like, this is war. It's not cool. It's not good.
It was late on Saturday. He said Ukrainian military is pushing a war onto the aggressor territory. Now, again, I want to say philosophically, I don't care about.
It's not Ramsay Bolton. Look at all these fake fans correcting me in chat. Look at these fake fans. You guys all think he's Ramsay Snow. He was a bastard child, okay? He was kind of legitimized by his dad, but not really. His dad was going to replace him anyway. That's why he was having a kid. That's why Ramsay had that woman eaten, okay? He's a bastard. He's Ramsay Snow. Okay? Fake losers.
This. It is normal, actually, to try and hit your enemy wherever they are and to throw them off balance. But when it's America's role, and we're the ones who are funding all of this, and we are the ones who experience any potential blowback, then that's a real issue. We also, shockingly enough, yes, it's true the Ukrainians can pull this off. And then this morning in the Wall Street Journal, they talk about how the Ukrainian commander is begging for more troops. They have no idea what to do. They've had 6 days worth of success. And now they're like, do we hold this territory? What do we do with this territory? Now we have to pull stuff away from previous defensive fronts. Over here, their own military leadership has no idea what to do with these gains. So yeah, it's been a good PR stunt.
Is any of this true? Like, one of the things the reason why I couldn't survive in this environment, like, I think I've probably got about half the sources I've got for this document that are, that I've actually listed up here. I need to go back and just start adding stuff. I just like padding out the top of the sources because it just shows you've got like a lot of, you've done research on what you're saying. It's crazy to me how people are so comfortable just asserting shit without backing any of it up. And I guess the audience just doesn't care. Like, when you say that, like, I would expect, like, if I was writing the script.
6 days worth of success. And now they're like, do we hold this territory? What do we do with this territory? Now we have to pull stuff away from.
Like, I would imagine to make a statement like this, you must cite to some military commander or some leak or some cable or something showing that, like, Ukrainian leadership isn't sure. Like, how do you just say all of this without any, like, I don't know if any of this is true. Does anybody in the comments wonder, like, are they actually wondering what to do with it? Or maybe this is all part of a plan? Or, like,
previous defensive fronts. Over here, their own military leadership has no idea what to do with these gains. So yeah, it's been a good PR stunt. Can you hold it? Are you now going to annex it into Ukraine? Are you going to, I mean, imagine the hypocrisy and the sheer insanity of bargaining, and claiming that your territory needs to be given back to you, but then occupying internationally recognized territory and swapping it. Now that's a very different moral narrative, isn't it?
What also, this is another thing, and you guys, everybody does this to me too. And I don't know if people, I just can't tell. It's got to be bad faith. It's got to be, it has to be mental. No. I'm sorry. It's not mental retardation. It's bad faith. This idea that some guy walks up and punches you in the nose, and then you punch him back, and everybody's like, wow. The morality of this situation sure has changed, hasn't it? Wow. You were a victim before, but now you two are exactly the same. Wow. You punched as hard, maybe even harder than he hit you. Really? This situation sure has changed. What the f*** are you talking about? What? Hi, what's up?
Be given back to you, but then occupying internationally recognized territory and swapping it. Now that's a very.
Also, he keeps using that term, internationally recognized territory. I'm so curious if you ever said this. Have you ever said this about any of the territory in Ukraine? I want a clip. I know he has. Please help me not hate this guy as much as I do. Somebody link me, please.
Can I help you
one clip of him. One clip of him. No. I want one clip of him saying the internationally recognized territory of Crimea or the internationally recognized territory of the Donbass. Just one clip of him using that phrase. Please. I know he said it at least one time. Just one time. Please show me. What do you have for me?
I just want to give you more reason to hate this piece of shit. We're going to talk tomorrow.
Hold on. Correction. These pieces of shit. Go ahead, because Crystal's up here as well. Yeah, my bad. Don't want her to escape. Yeah, condemnation. Go ahead.
So every time I watch Breaking Points talk about the war in Ukraine, I feel like they lie, and I don't. Not only do I feel like they lie, I know they're lying, but I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, on accident. The last time I tuned into them, it was when they were talking about the missile strikes in Crimea, and one of them got intercepted.
I know exactly what you're talking about. No, you're wrong. You're talking about when Ukraine was intentionally firing missiles on beach-going native Ukrainian Russian children when they were shooting missiles at the beach. I know exactly which story you're talking about. Yes, yeah, and I remember these guys talking about it.
Every time they'll like hyper cover any time where like something like that happens. They'll cover it in the least charitable way towards the Ukrainian. They'll leave out important information about military installations in Crimea. They won't cover that it was intercepted. They'll just say that that like a missile struck the beachside, and then they'll say, oh, isn't it so dastardly that we're doing this with our tax dollars? They'll build this Jenga tower built on either misinformation, disinformation, or just a lack of knowledge, and then come with the conclusion, man, we should really abandon these Ukrainians. The Ukrainians really should just roll over. And every single time the Ukrainians go and strike the Russians in Russia, they talk about it. Every single time the Russians escalate the war, either through the use of chemical weapons, through the escalation of war crimes, any of this, they never talk about it. It's so unbelievably biased. They say it's because you can already get that on the mainstream press, but that's not true. Tons of my friends are getting laid off because they can't get Ukraine stories on CNN, on the mainstream news outlet, even in Ukrainian-based English-speaking news. So it's not true that people are hearing about it. People don't hear about the chemical weapons being used.
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, we just our appetite for any foreign policy event is low anyway, and now we're shifting to election season. So yeah, yeah.
Sorry to bother you. Have a good one.
You're good.
Talk to you tomorrow.
See
Bye.
you later. Bye.
They were
Like this statement, these collections.
recognized territory and swapping it. Now that's a very different moral narrative, isn't it? Than saying, well, we're just fighting back against the people who have invaded our country.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You know, is that
They're still the people that invaded your country, right? You know that like it's still the country that invaded your country, right? Like,
the longer this drags on, there's the moral ambiguity increases,
no, it doesn't. No, not really. No.
the so-called justness of their cause decreases.
No, not really. No, it doesn't. No.
Their overall like ability to even stand this without literally tens of billions of dollars a month having to flow there in Western aid, it shows us that this cannot go on forever. And we all know how it's going to end. And so they refuse to end it. Currently, we refuse, frankly, to responsibly end it. And we bear the ultimate risk for anything going wrong.
And that's a real question. I mean, this has been, you know, for Ukraine, it's been a real show of force. It has exposed, as you said, you know, real weaknesses on the Russian side that they haven't been able to repel these forces on their own territory. Obviously, the Ukrainians are trying to demonstrate that the entry of the F-16s into this conflict is a real game changer.
God, it would be so corny and it would be so on the nose. But like, I want to see like a 30-minute like a mini doc or mini movie made where you've got like people live streaming or cameras on the beaches of Normandy, and it would be these like this horrible action. The United States just sending children to their deaths. No advances are being made. They're never going to penetrate these beaches. The German position is highly defended. It is such a waste of human life. American children just being mowed down for what? For America's ambition. They were never going to defend the United Kingdom. Like, we have no business being involved. Like, it would be insane for any other type of like this type of commentary to exist today. But like, what do you want?
One last thing. I'm sorry, I could do this like every 5 minutes. I won't do it again. She just said that the Ukrainians are doing this to show that the F-16s are working. I don't know what the she's talking about. I've heard nobody say that. I've talked to no Ukrainians who said that. They've got like 10 operational F-16s. There's no way that 10 operational F-16s could change anything. I don't think they've actually listened to anybody about what the purpose of the operation is. The most obvious purpose, from most analysts that I've talked to and from my own conclusions, is that the Ukrainians want to overstretch the Russian lines to make them move their troops from the Donbass and make it so they can't keep adding pressure there. That's the obvious conclusion. But have they even talked about that in this video? Did I like miss that?
Well, there's not like a single, there's not like a single source for any of their statements at all. They're just kind of like talking. So, but they're military experts, so they shouldn't need to source anything. So yeah.
Yeah, General Crystal and General Sagar is going to inform us all. Anyway, you have a good one. Bye bye.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.